Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's going to be reviewing this lifted Ford F-350 Super Duty. Before we get in this video, I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to the Ed Kenley Ford here in Layton, Utah for giving me some time with this truck. I'm going to include a link to their website in the description down below so you can check out what they have currently. And if you don't know, Ed Kenley Ford does not charge any sort of markups on their vehicles over MSRP whatsoever, so if you're in a great deal on a new Ford, reach out to them. And then on a side note, if you want to save time and money the next time you purchase a car, link to my car buying guide in the description down below. Let's get into it. First off, powering this truck is the regular Power Stroke. It is a 6.7 liter turbo diesel V8 that goes through a 10-speed automatic transmission. It produces 475 horsepower and then 1,050 pound-feet of torque. Now, before we move forward with this review, I do want to mention, if you want to see more videos just like this, then I recommend you subscribe because I post content every single day. So this particular Super Duty is built off of the Lariat, so you've got the nice LED headlamps. You guys can see we've got some fog light action, but the only downside about this being a Lariat is that, yeah, we've got the chin spoiler there at the bottom, but you can always take that off if you want it to have more of like an imposing lifted look, but it still looks great. It's just, yeah, the chin beard on the Fords, always kind of a funny look. Anyways, let's dive into the exciting stuff. So we've got 37s wrapped around 20-inch wheels. The exact setup is 37 by 12.5 by 20 in the front and over in the rear. And you guys can see fuel wheels, which are really popular with HD trucks. And then look how aggressive the tread is here on the tires. Really cool look overall. Now, when it comes to lift itself, it is a 6-inch lift. You guys can see it's the Falcon setup. We'll see how these shocks perform on road, but here's kind of a look at the rest of the whole setup here. You guys can see still solid front axle, all that fun stuff. And then here's a quick look at everything in the rear. You guys can see the leaf springs there on the back as well. And then this has the cool power side steps that have like the rock rail thing on the outside, which I've always been a fan of. And sorry about the lighting with this shot, the clouds just decided to come out of nowhere, but anyways, here's kind of like your side view of the truck. Really cool stance. Now, aside from the lift stuff, this is a Lariat, so you've got like the nicer Lariat interior, the Bang & Olufsen sound system. You can see here with the upgraded seats. And then here's a quick look at those power side steps. Let's test them out. Yeah, that makes getting in a whole lot easier. And, ooh. So I'm just giving a quick feature check here so you guys can see. Obviously, you've got the Lariat steering wheel, full digital gauge coast comes to Lariat. This one has the auxiliary switches, which is a cool feature. Let's see what kind of camera it has. 360. So you got the 360 camera, locking rear differential as well. You got heated, cooled seats, all of that fun stuff. Heated steering wheel, dual zone climate. Interestingly enough, this one also has the bench seat, so kind of a unique configuration. So here's the window sticker for the Lariat this is built off of. You guys can see $78,000 MSRP, and then we've got everything added to it, $89,414. It's the total price with all the accessories and all of that fun stuff. Let's see how this drives. Well, let's talk about visibility in this lifted Super Duty. Here's your visibility over the hood, both the mirrors, dual blind spot monitoring throughout the rest of the rear. And let us set off. This year I've been trying to do more of these modified reviews. Let me know if you guys like these. But, you know, I figured so many people, especially these trucks, lift them and all that kind of stuff. So I figure reviewing, you know, lifted trucks like this might help out some of you with deciding if you want to, you know, lift your truck that you got, or, you know, if it's worth it, all that, you know, all that kind of stuff, basically. What I will say is it's easy to drive. This is more reasonable than some of the other, like some of those lifted trucks I've reviewed with tons of negative offset. They feel kind of awkward to drive. This, you know, I do feel higher up compared to a regular Super Duty, but it's not challenging to drive at all. So it feels, yeah, it just feels taller. It doesn't feel weird like the trucks with the negative offset can, you know, potentially feel like. Actually getting up and moving here in this lifted Super Duty rides really well. Shows the benefit of going for smaller, slightly smaller wheels. 20s are still pretty big, but, you know, better than 24s or 22s. But yeah, smaller wheels, a bit more sidewall on the tires. It'd be cool to see one of these with 37s and like 18s. But I understand people go for the 20s at least so you can see the wheel a little bit more, because when you do like 18s and smaller, you can still see the wheel, but like the tire is the main attraction, whereas this, you know, it's kind of a mix between tire and wheel. It's a good way to put it. Continuing along here, Yeah, this Power Stroke has no trouble moving these tires. Transmission's super quick to shift. It's very smooth. It's just super seamless overall. And at highway speeds, it's quite impressive how comfortable this is. Like, I would be completely fine with daily driving this. Which, you know, a lot of times when I drive Super Duties or, you know, just HD trucks in general, you know, kind of the thought is, this is nice, it makes sense, right, for towing and that stuff, but I don't think I'd want to live with one. Whereas this, you know, I think that, yeah, I'd have no problem. Yeah, really good torque, so you've got good, like, passing ability, too. If you need to. It's very smooth. This lift setup, they've done a really good job with this. This is the smoothest lifted Super Duty I've driven so far. Yeah, it seems like the shock damping is really good. Braking doesn't feel scary. Sometimes it can be kind of sketchy with a lifted vehicle, but it doesn't feel scary at all. And I will say, being in a Lariat, obviously, you know, really comfortable seats. Having the cooled seat function is nice. Even though it's cloudy, it's still almost 100 degrees outside. Even when the sun hides, it still boils us to death here in Utah. But yeah, I mean, I'm super impressed with how well this truck drives. I just want to keep getting kind of a better feel for this, since obviously this is going to be kind of like a one-off video. Also interesting to notice, like, all the little areas you can charge stuff here in the new Super Duty. It's like you got a bajillion charge ports, which is always a big plus. So much torque. Yeah, I really like the torquey feel that this has. And it's very smooth too. Woo! Gotta love the Power Stroke. It's power's in the name. It really does feel that way. I think this is probably my favorite lifted HD I've reviewed this year, I think. Because the powertrain is just, it's a really good pairing. And the solid front axle, you know, obviously that can kind of lead to some discomfort with the ride, but it's not bad. It's actually pretty comfy overall. So, summing things up, when it comes to looks, I think it looks good, minus the, again, I'm not a huge fan. I understand why they have the chin guard, like for aerodynamic purposes, right, to help out fuel economy and wind resistance and yada 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 yada. I get it, but it's ugly. It's super ugly. So outside of that, I think it looks really cool, and it drives really well for a lifted truck. This is the best one that I have driven, and you know, this is this is me diving into the weeds a little bit, but this is kind of the sad reality of some of these lifted builds. Is like, if you do it yourself, it seems like, with, obviously, you know, there's companies that'll lift these trucks and you get a warranty, and that's nice to have the warranty peace of mind. But at the same time, these builds where you do it yourself, where you pick parts from the best manufacturers for shocks and lift and yada yada yada, you guys get what I'm saying, it seems like the finished product just drives a little bit better. It's, yeah, it seems like it's just, everything's a little bit, but I mean, I feel like that's just with how everything works. So let me know what you guys think. I think that lifting the Super Duty is great. It has the power to move the tires, and it drives really well. I don't really have anything bad to say about how this drives. I think they've done a good job with this.